Alright, we've got the fly cutter going. At the moment it's on 630 RPM, it's just a standard sort of thing. What I'm doing, I'm just facing this square here. As you can see, it's got a beautiful finish there. It's like glass, you know. Oh, there's a couple of rift things there, that's not a problem, but other than that, it's all perfect. So what I'm going to do is, I'll just stop this. Now this piece of steel eventually will end up being a set of T-nuts, and the T-nuts, I'll just bring it over to the light here sort of thing so you can see it. Okay, there you can see it. That's the T-nut I'm going to produce. So these T-nuts are 14mm across, and where they're across is where it's machined on this top end. So that's what it is. The ones on other machines I think is 16 and 16 and 18mm, depends which machine you've got. So that will fit inside of the groove from underneath, of course, then it pulls up. So that's what I'm going to do. Also I'm doing at this stage is I'm only going to face the top and the bottom of it. So once that's square, the sides I'm not worried about because they are approximately the same width as you can see, so I'm not going to do anything with that. So I'm really only interested in the top part. So I thought I'd square the bottom off so when it goes through the actual grooves in here, so as you can see, that'll go in there, then just slide across. So as long as it's clear down the bottom end of it, and then I'll cut the slot in it as it is, like that shape there, that'll go into it. So that will actually end up being like that. Whoops, there we go. So it'll end up being like that eventually. So I've got a fair bit to take off the top. The bottom's already machined, so that'll be good. And then I'll just cut the grooves in. Then I'll just drill and tap each hole. So I don't know, I might get 8 or 10 out of this one bar, which will be spot on. The problem is that that is the actual kit that you buy to suit this particular machine. But I've actually got another 2 kits which are over there, which are the bigger ones, which were used on the wrong fur. So the wrong fur is actually a lot bigger. They're 16mm, whereas these are only 14mm. Alright, we've got this square bar in here. What I'm doing, I'm just, I've faced the bottom, I'm just facing the top off properly, or just rechecking it. And as you can see, the fly cutter's given a beautiful cut there. I don't know if you can see any of that. There we go, look at that reflection. Yeah, you can't see now, that's it. So anyway, so that's the finish that's giving. Now I'm only sitting on 630 RPM, which is not bad. There's no vibrations or anything like that, and I think well, whatever the scale is, it's sitting on number 1 for a feed. So anyway, what I'll do, I'll face this, then I'm going to measure the height of it. Once I've done that, then I'll cut the grooves on its side. So once I've cut it to height, so that'll be ready for the T-nuts. I've had to make some special T-nuts, well, T-nuts where it goes into the slot in there, you know, inside there sort of thing, in those grooves, and it's going into the rotary table. So what I've done, I've had to make a special size, so the OD, or the outside that goes into the machine, is bigger than what the slot is on my mill. My mill's only 14mm wide, so I've had to step it and everything, and I've got my little jig here, which yeah, you can see I can space that right in, right out. So I'll just take this out, do the next one, and then I'll do a couple like that. Alright, we've got our dividing head here, but I've got it turned upside down. Now I've had to make 2 special, well, they're not T-slots, but they're T-spaces, if we want to call them those. Now inside here is around about 16 mil, but on the other side where it goes into the milling machine, it's only 14 mil. So what I've had to do is make a spacer like that. You can see the difference there, and it's got a recess for the bolt. So what happens is this one just straight out. Now these are very snug fit, call machine fits or whatever you like, doesn't really matter. It's going to have a fit, that's right. So what happens is now, that's one, so that's the other one. Now also they're just screwed straight in. Then I do put it around the right way, there we go. Right, so that's those ones, and then what I'll do is, I think you can see that's going to have a 6 jaw chuck like that going onto it, and then I still have to make a backing plate which will go there. Then we'll turn the table over to the other side. Now I've got an 8-inch here which goes in my rotary table. I have to modify the actual backing plate. That's a D3, D4 backing plate, so I'll just pull the bolts out, or the locators, recess that, so that'll be right. But then I have to drill 4 holes going through there so it can go into the table. Anyway, I'll go and put it on top of the mill and I'll show what it looks like. Alright, we've got our rotary table here. That's our unit. You can see the 2 spacers I've put in. I haven't cleaned this down, still needs cleaning down. Now that will fit straight into the slots. I'll just line them up. So that'll fit straight in. And wherever you put it, there's no movement whatsoever. That's very, very snug. And then all you do, you just get a couple of clamps, put one in there, one in this side, bolt it down, and Bob's your uncle, so to speak. So anyway, that'll rotate. The only problem, this is only a little 6-inch unit, but to lift it up, I'll have to put at least 1 spacer in here, which will be 14 mil there, and whatever that size is up here. So that'll go right down, or at least 10 mil in, and then that'll be sticking up about 10 to 15, 20 mil inside that section here. So I'll just see if I can pull this off without any problems. That's it. If I can get it off, she'll be right. There we go. So if you can see that, see there's a slot in here. So also I'll do, I'll just make another one same size as that to go in, at least that's flush, and then whatever size that is, then the bottom will be 14, so that'll go in, and then you've got your clamps to go on top of that, so that'll hold it all together. So then it can sit like in a vertical position. Don't want to damage anything here. There we go, that'll sit up like so, and then the chuck will be hanging off the end of that. Then you've got your adjustments, of course, so that'll work out really well. The next step of the process will be to make a backing plate that'll go onto here, and then so what will happen is I have to use the table to get my 4 positions so I can drill the holes, but also the backing plate then has to screw back into the 6-inch chuck, so you have to drill holes straight through the chuck and everything. So when I'm doing all that, we'll go through it, and we'll do a clip on it. This is the back of our rotary table. Now when it's sitting horizontally, we have to get that particular unit, and that will fit in there, that's fine, but then that has to be stepped in to 14 mil in here. So what we have to do is machine it so we've got that edge, and then step down to 14mm. That's these two, then there's another two there, so on vertical, and that'll be horizontal. Anyway, we'll go back to lathe and we'll show you how we do it. Alright, what we've got here is I've got my jig all set up here. That's bolted onto there. That swivels wherever you like. That will come in and out. Then you put that anywhere you like. So what we're doing here is we've got a piece like that, for example, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it's the right way in. That will actually fit right in there nice and snug. Then I'll do the vise up. I'll cut that down to correct depth then I'll turn it over and do exactly the same on the other side. So then that'll be exactly a 14mm, which will go into the channel here where your T-nuts normally go, and the T-nuts normally tee underneath up, but this is virtually just a spacer. So I'll just move around and I'll show what I'm doing. Now what we're going to do here, or what we're doing is we're actually cutting the depth, or the depth coming back this way, and the width which is going down. So we're doing all in one go. And oh dear me, if I work that out right, like I do it past forwards, then I'll do another one coming back again. So we've got both cuts done, so one side's done, and then as soon as that's finished cutting at the moment, then I'm going to flip it over and we'll do the other side. Just clean that edge off first. So we've already done that side there. Whoops, I'll try and, there we go. We've already done that shoulder, as you can see. Now we're going to just flip it over and put it in the other side. And if the calculations are right, we should be okay. We cut one way, then we'll go back in the spring cut on the way back again. Or spring pass, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so what we've got now, we've got 4 spacers, like so, and they have to fit into the slots, which they do, as you can see. Oops. It does go in when I can hold, it's only a very thin piece there. There we go, we've got 4 pieces there now. As you can see, they fit into the 14mm slot, so you've got bigger and smaller. The bigger piece goes back into the table itself, and then they are to locate on here, whether it's going to be sitting vertically or horizontally. So we'll bring the table around and I'll put them in. Alright, this is my 8-inch rotary table here. Now what we have to do is we have to make 4 T-slots, which goes 1, 2, 3 and 4, so that when we put our chuck on the front eventually, we'll be able to bolt it down. But also this number 3 Morse taper, and that is a number 3 Morse taper. I have got this particular piece of stock here. That's a 160mm OD. It's about 45mm thick, and it's got one side which is reasonable. Now what's going to happen is that will actually go on here. I'll drill a hole which will go into the table as well, and then that'll bolt down, etc. But in the meantime, what we're doing is I'll just leave that there for a moment. I'll just turn this around like so, and this is the part, whoops, let's very gently nip that over. What we're really interested in is the spaces that I've just made up, which will go in here, for example, like so. I'll just put one on there for the moment, so bear with me. Oops, be an idea getting it straight. Then we've got another one a bit further down. As you can see, these spaces here, these are the ones that you saw me actually do on the mill. So I've cut the edges off, as you can see, and like I said, these ones will go inside the slot arrangement on my mill. Now these particular heads are recessed as well, as you can see, or recessed for the nut or bolt. You only need to just gently nip them up. They don't have to be over tight, as long as they're all sitting flush. And I will give them a tap down shortly just to make sure. Actually do that right now, doesn't really matter. Now the purpose of these is to line these up into the groove, whichever set of grooves you put into. They should be fairly in line with the rest of it. Now that's that part, but there's also another 2 that goes on the other side, so that when you do have it on a vertical plane, like for example, I'll put this in at the moment and I can show you this. It is a fraction weighty, by the way. Only weigh about 10 or 20 kilos, something like that. Okay, you can see that's there's no movement whatsoever. So then that, I haven't checked it yet, but that should line up straight in line with the rest of it. And if I can pull it out, okay, so now what we've got is the other 2 here. You have to excuse my hands here. Right, so they're just nipped up roughly now, so that what we'll do is, if we want to use in the vertical position, because I'll be sitting that way of course, we can put it into any groove that we want, and you have to be careful so we don't damage everything. Now that's sitting in the groove and I can reef it and I can't move it, so that's good. And then the actual chuck will be on this side here, and then you can do your milling or drilling or whatever you need to do. But that's basically it. Now, like I said, it is very snug in there, and it's a matter of just trying to get them out and things like this. So that's that part finished. Now all we have to do is go and do all the chuck backing plates for both units, for 6 and the 8 inch, and then we'll go from there. So we'll see how it goes. There we go, we're trimming some steel off. I'm just going to trim the end off here so we've got a flat surface, because that's just too wonky. And then I'm going to make some here in a certain amount of width, so probably 25mm. Then I can cut 1, 2 or 3, and I can make 4 pieces or 14 nuts at a time. So that's going through quite well. That'll only take a few minutes. Well, now I'll do now matter of going back to where I've got my line scribed, then I'll cut that out and then we can start machining that one. Well, that's what I'm going to be machining as soon as it's just about finished. There, it's just about, it is finished, there we go. Yeah, that's got a nice finish at the moment, right on there. What I'm going to do now is turn it over the other way. I'll face that, so I'll use that as my bottom face. That'll be the right hand shoulder or left, depends which way you want to look at it. And then when I turn it over, then I'll mark it down so I've got my correct height. So this will be the base, then I'll cut that down to what it's supposed to be, and yeah, we'll get back to it in a minute. Yeah, that's cleaning up quite well. Going back on the return run. I don't know if I can get any closer. There we go. And then what I'll do, I'll bring it back on the spring pass. I'll just measure it first and just see how we're going for size. But we should be fairly close. Alright, we're starting to cut out the first part of the T. Well, underneath letter T on one side. We're going down about 3mm at the moment. We have to go around about 8mm deep on that side, then turn it over and we'll do the other side. Alright, we're just in the process of trimming these T-nuts, or the sides of them. Just make sure they're all about the same size. Alright, as you can see, I've just finished sizing this particular end up. I've machined it there and there so they're all the same width, and these are all of the T-nuts which are going into the 6-inch dividing head. And also this is the vice, what I call a vice stop clamp. That's got that goes in there. That can be adjusted for any length or size. Now I've got smaller ones that fit on the sides as well. So if you did want to make one, which is quite easy, just look under vice stop clamps that I've got in right down the beginning of the series somewhere. Alright, we've got our 6-inch dividing head. Now I've made a series of these T-nuts, like so. Anyway, you get the gist of that. And these are 4 already made up, so they'll go in there, whichever area you want. Then they're just locked up, and yeah, they're not going to move anywhere. And as you can see, they go in quite easy. There's no problem with it. Actually, like I said, I've made 5, so I'll have one spare one. So that virtually finishes this section of it. The next section now is for this 6-inch unit of I've got this piece of alloy that's 6 inches or 160 mil OD. It's about 45 mil thick. Now what's going to happen is that will go onto there, so I have to work out how to join that onto there and onto there like so, and then you've got the 6-inch 3-jaw chuck to go on top of that. So yeah, what we'll do, we'll turn this part down next, and then we'll fit it to the chuck.